What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Taylor Rouge. I'm an R&B artist from Richfield, Minnesota. And so I just wanted to give you guys a little taste of who Taylor Rouge is and my music journey. So I'm from Richfield, Minnesota. I grew up in a townhome community in New Orleans Court. So I'm the baby of the family. I have two older sisters. You know, growing up, honestly, I had a ball. Like, I have so many good memories growing up with my parents and my siblings. My dad was more of the strict parent, so he was just like, you know, my dad's from Haiti, so I ain't gonna lie. Like, he was very strict, and he made sure that we had structure in the household. And so that was, like, honestly a plus, just because, you know, I believe just having a father and being there is, like, really important, especially for a young girl.
My daughter Kayla, she's been a precious girl to me since she was born. She was brilliant. She make me laugh, and she make me cry. She was good in school, and I was very proud, and I'm still proud of Kayla.
I was really, really close to my mom, honestly, just because me and my mom had a lot of stuff in common when it came to music, and she was just at home more. My dad worked a 9-to-5 job, and so he just wasn't there a lot, you know, and so I was always with my mom.
Okay, my daughter Takayla.Nelson was born 1994, April 11th, 1994, at Southdale Hospital in Minnesota, in Edina. Coming up, she was a very rambunctious child. She loved to smile, you know. She was definitely a boss over her sisters. Being the youngest, she was the one that pretty much ran it. She had her sisters do whatever she wanted them to do.
Like, me and my mom's closeness was just something I always remember for the rest of my life. Like, even just starting to talk about it just kind of makes me, like, overwhelmed with joy, just because my mom is the reason I'm doing music right now. Like, I just remember there, like, being on the weekends and after school, my mom listened to music nonstop all freaking day. Like, to the point where I know it used to irritate my dad because she just listened to music on the clock. And I used to sit there right next to her on the couch. And I remember just, like, singing with her and just hearing the different melodies and music and the beats. It just really hit me. Like, I just loved it so much. And my mom sang all the time, and I think I gravitated towards that the most out of, you know, my sisters.
She loved to sing. She got her singing bug, I would say, from me, because she always watched me sing, you know, and I was singing oldies back in the day, and she would always join in. So I knew that was something that she loved to do, was sing. She did it all the time, you know, all the way, you know, every time I would cut the oldies on, Kayla would be right there singing with me. Out of the two of her sisters, she was the one singing with me.
I love to be the center of attention. I love to get in front of the family when the family came over to sing and dance, and I just always liked the attention. I'm gonna keep it real.
She was just an awesome little girl. She always loved to sing. She would walk around the house singing. If she went downstairs, if she went upstairs, it didn't make a difference. Wherever she was always singing. And I used to look at her, I was like, "You like singing?" She's like, "Yeah, I like singing, Grandma." I was like, "Okay, all right." I said, "Well, we got a star in the family."
You know, middle school was pretty good. I mean, I had a lot of trouble, like, trying to fit in. You know, people was always trying to pick on me, always mess with me, just because people always thought I was, like, foreign and was trying to figure out what I was, and I feel like they used that to attack me as a kid. And so I got into a pretty big fight in middle school, which was out when I was in 8th grade, which, you know, led me to being expelled. And so I had to go to a new school, and that kind of broke me down as a kid, because I just didn't really understand why I was the one expelled and this girl wasn't. So when my mommy wrote me in this school, she was hoping that, this would be a new start and that things would get better for me. And, I was honestly hoping that too, but that's really not how things went.
As she got into junior high, she kind of struggled. Peer pressure. She kind of was easily influenced. She ran into a guy that kind of told her probably what she wanted to hear. So she was kind of confused probably at the time. Even though she had her father in the house and I was at home, and she knew what we taught her. I think her being easily influenced and just being young, she got caught up in that and she started to run away.
I remember meeting a guy at the mall one weekend with my friend, and we were just hanging out, like walking around the mall, doing what teenagers do. And I remember meeting this guy, and he was with another guy, and he was just like, I remember seeing him like twice that day in the mall. We didn't pass each other twice, but we ended up seeing each other again, like on the way out. And he was like, he tried to talk. First, his friend tried to talk to my friend, and then he was like, I was just kind of standing out to the side, and then he tried to talk to me, and I was just like, he was cute. And so I was like, okay, so we exchanged numbers, and then I didn't think it was going to be nothing that serious. So I just thought, I was going to get a guy's number. We might text here and there. I never thought it was going to get like serious at all, honestly. And plus I didn't have a cell phone, so he was about to call my mom's phone, and I knew they was going to be wondering who this guy was. So I didn't really think nothing of it. After that night, I remember going home, and he called me like that same night. I wasn't expecting that. Good thing I was the one to answer the phone, because I just told you my dad don't play no games. And so we talked and we got kind of cool. Everything was cool, and I think like pretty shortly after we started dating. We'd seen each other a few times after that, like just hanging out at the mall and stuff like that. But then it kind of got pretty serious pretty quickly. Being at that age and that stage in my life, I think I was seeking attention a little bit, just wanting, I got attention at home, but like being at school, not being really that, that girl at school, I just kind of felt, it just kind of brought me down a little bit. So, meeting him, that like, I was drawn to him because he was giving the attention that I probably didn't need, but that I wanted. So we started hanging out, and things just, went pretty quick. We were dating for about 3-4 months. And like, he treated me really well in the beginning. He seemed like a really nice guy. Like, I was really shocked. I really thought I had the best guy in the world at that age. And until like things just kind of spiraled out of control. I remember one of the first incidents that happened. I remember we were all just kicking it, and I remember he had like a few guy friends around, and they were drinking and smoking. We were outside just chilling, and I think I had a conversation with one of his friends, and I was like, just talking like regular stuff, and it just like pissed him off. And I just remember him smacking me like in front of everybody, and I remember just crying and being embarrassed, and I remember him just going off and off and off. And then eventually he just apologized and was like he was sorry, he didn't mean to do it. And I was just like, me being young, I was just like, okay, well, maybe it was just a mistake. And so that's where, the abuse really started for me. So everything really escalated from that point. My little happy fairy tale relationship honestly went downhill from there. I think just being with somebody for that amount of time, he just didn't really show his true colors. And I feel like they really started to come out after that point. I think I knew, that my life was really in danger when it was this day on New Year's Eve. I remember we going just to kick it, like everybody else do on New Year's Eve, drink and party. I remember getting to this house. I think it was like one of his friends' homes. I can't remember exactly. I think it was. He said it was his family member, but I could have swore it was his friend. There were tons of people there. It was a little laid back vibe. I was feeling good. He was feeling good. We were drinking. It was cool. Everything was cool. Like more and more people was coming in, and I remember this girl. I don't know if he necessarily knew her, but this girl had came in. And he was like, we was all just chilling and talking, and like all of a sudden he was just trying to get me to talk to this girl. Like basically like, I don't know if he necessarily was like on some other stuff. Like he was trying to get me to like, you know, I don't know, I feel like he was trying to push me to the limit. Like he was trying to see how far he could push me. And so he was like, me and this girl was talking, and he was trying to say that we're flirting with each other. And I'm like, no, we're just talking, like, you know, whatever the case may be, because the girl kept saying, oh, you know how girls get drink, they like, oh, you're cute, blah, blah, blah. We're just talking and we're smiling, we're laughing. And it's like almost like he was trying to see how far. He was like, go talk to her. Mind you, I'm young, I'm drinking. I'm like, okay, you know, whatever he wants. So I go over there, you know, I'm talking to her. I remember he was like watching from afar, because I kept like looking over to see, like, you know, and he just kept watching, and he'd be talking to his friends, and, you know, we was talking. She went to the bathroom, and he told me, he said, go in there, go in the bathroom, like basically see if she, you know, she's you know, she's with it, she's on it. Like it was almost, and mind you, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But he was like, you know, makes it seem like, go ahead, go do it. Like, I'm not tripping. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I went in there. I remember I was talking to her, and I remember her saying, like, oh no, like basically like it was like weird. I think like low key she was just like her. I think her dude was there too, and so she was like really like not really feeling that. Like she was like, because I was trying to tell her what he was trying to tell me to do, and then she wasn't really going like that. And I was like, oh okay. And I remember us switching, you know, our phone numbers. Like, oh, okay, just hit me up, girl. Like blah blah blah. And I remember him banging on the door. And I could have swore we was only in there for like not even 2 minutes. Like it was a pretty quick conversation. I remember him banging on the door like hard. And he was like, open this door. Da, da, da. And she was like, I'm using the bathroom, because she's on the toilet. She's like, I'm using the bathroom. And so I was like, hold on, she's on the toilet, blah, blah. She gets up, washes her hands. He busts through the door. And she's like, I was on the toilet, like calm down, like I'm using the bathroom. And he comes in there. She leaves out. First thing he say is he was kissing her. And I was like, no, she wasn't on that. What are you talking about? No, it wasn't that. And he was like, I heard you. I said, you didn't hear nothing. Like, you did not hear that. Like, mind you, I'm like, you delusional, because you didn't hear none of that, because I didn't do that. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm trying to explain that to him, and he just didn't want to hear me. And prior before that, I remember always having, like, every time I would say that I wasn't doing something. Have you ever, like, I'm just paint this picture. Have you ever literally felt like you was telling the truth to somebody and they didn't believe you? And as bad as you was screaming, like, I didn't do nothing wrong, they continue to just not believe you. So you felt like it didn't matter. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my ass whooped. That's why I felt like it don't matter. And before I could say no, I didn't, he grabbed my head and slammed it against the wall. I literally felt like I was dreaming. That's how bad he slammed my head. It was like, I remember him after he slammed my head against the wall, I remember him lifting my head up with my hair. And I'm like screaming. Mind you, the music's so loud, bro. Like I feel like nobody can hear me. I remember seeing the blood dripping down my eye and putting my head in the toilet. And I was like fucking drowning in the toilet. put my head back up, and I was like, please, just please let me go. Like, please. I knew then. I'm like, this dude, like, mind you, this is like nothing new. He's been done stuff, but I felt like this time I was scared for my life. And people were banging on the door, trying to use the bathroom. You would think they was banging on the door because they heard me. They was banging on the door because everybody's drunk. They're trying to use the bathroom. Like, I'm opening up and get out of the bathroom. He wouldn't let me get out of there. I'm like, so finally he was like, okay, people want to use the bathroom. They probably trying to figure out what's up. He opened the door, and before he even opened the door, he was like, all right, I'm gonna open this door. When we go out of here, you better not say nothing. I'm like, when we got there, we're gonna go sit down. You're not gonna say nothing. And so I'm like, anything I was like, I'm gonna say anything to let get out of this bathroom. So I was like, all right. I was like, okay, I won't say nothing. As soon as I got there, he pulled me to the side. He had me holding on his lap, and he was just holding me like this. And I was just like, I got to break loose. I gotta go. And I remember just like, I started being like a maniac. I started screaming. I started being like he choked me. He did this. He slammed my head. And mind you, they looking at me, and they're like, they literally felt like they was looking at me like I was crazy. And I don't remember how it happened. Like, I believe it was God, because I broke away from him, and I had no shoes on. I just remember running out that door, and I remember I ran, screaming and crying, help me. He came after me, and I just did not stop running until I got to a gas station. And he was right behind me. Like, it was like, I'm pretty sure it's because he didn't want to go to jail. He didn't want the police to be called, or whatever the case may be. I got in that gas station, and I was screaming and crying, no shoes on, barefoot, just like terrified. And I remember them telling me like, okay, just wait here. And he came in there like, she's good. And she had too much to drink. And I'm just like, and they're like, and at this point, he started trying to get me to get out of the store. And I'm just like, oh, please don't let me go with him. Like, this dude is crazy, please. And they just didn't it's crazy. It's like, they didn't do enough. They didn't call the police. Like, I don't even remember the police coming. I just remember being back at his house that night. Mind you, I'm already drunk. And I ended up being back at his house. I just, man, that time of my life was so traumatic, and it just really being with him. I remember going to his house on the weekend, and remember like him getting me to like stay past Sunday, and then it going into Monday. And I remember my mom blowing his phone up like, where she at, like she's supposed to be home. And I remember just being scared at that point, because I'm like, I should have been took my butt home. I know my mom's tripping out, my dad's tripping out. And I remember just being like, all right, like I need to go home. And he was just like, no, like you don't get in trouble, like you might as well just stay. And I'm like, I don't think I should stay, because my mom and them is gonna honestly whip my ass. Like, they're gonna be pissed off. They're gonna probably ground me for the rest of the school year, or it's something worse. And so I remember just telling him like, no, I think I should go home. And he was just saying like, there's ways around it. I should just stay a little bit longer. We'll think of something to say, like an excuse. And I'm just being like, just going with the flow. Because mind you, he already had me wrapped around his finger. He knew exactly what to say to me. So I was kind of like already like mind fucked at this point. And so I'm like, okay. So days went on. Still haven't went back home. My mom blowing his phone up. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, I'm scared to go home at this point. I didn't even want to deal with the reaction they were going to have on me. So I was just like, I'm staying.
The first time she ran away, I thought she was at school. But come to find out, one of her little girlfriends called and was looking for her and was like, is Kayla there? And I was like, Kayla's at school. And she said, no, ma'am, Kayla's not at school. And that's when I found out that she had ran away from home. So she came home, regular time at school usually it gets out. And I I asked her, I said, sweetie, how was school? And she said, oh, it was fine. I said, okay. What'd you learn? And she told me that she had learned some, mathematics and some things in science. And I said, Kayla, you didn't go to school. Where were you at? And so she began to lie, kind of lie and tell some untruths. She didn't come out right and tell me that it had something to do with a boy. So at some point, when I had gotten on her about it, me and her father, the running away continued. So we had to get the police involved. It got kind of really dire with the situation. But at the time, we, had my mom praying for her. Me and my husband was praying for her, my pastor. My brother's a pastor. So everybody in the family was really praying for Kayla Strong. But, she had a strong hold on her, meaning this knucklehead boy who was telling her things that she thought was true.
I think my breaking point where I was like, enough is enough, is when it was an incident where he was saying that I was cheating on him and that he had like read some text messages, some crazy stuff saying that he knew that I was messing with some guy. And this is a time where he beat me pretty bad to the point where I ended up being in the hospital. And I remember I was still like, I was probably going on 15. So this is all within a year. I don't know if you ever got in a fight and you almost felt like you didn't feel any punch, but I would feel the blood that dripping down me. And I remember like not even feeling, because my adrenaline was going so fast that I don't even remember feeling him like really like beating my ass. I didn't really feel the pain until afterwards. And I remember just sitting there like, I remember walking to the bathroom, and he had this long hallway in his house. I remember walking to the bathroom and remember looking in the mirror, just like looking at myself, like disgusted. Like, I'm just like, this is really happening. Like, you really been going through this for this long, and you still here. Like, you know what I mean? And like, I'm like, I should be at home. I should be in school. And I just remember again, him just like crying again, saying, apologizing, and I'm sorry. Mind you, I was getting dizzy. I felt like I was going to throw up. I was very sick. I knew something wasn't right. And I was like, I need to go to the hospital. His dad wasn't there at the time because, like I said, he worked all the time. So I remember just going down the street and being like, I need to go to the hospital. And he's like, you're not going to the hospital. He didn't want me to go. He was like, you're not going to the hospital, because basically he didn't want to go to jail. I remember taking off running. Again. And I remember getting on Rice Street and just screaming and crying, looking up, because there was this complex, and I'm like, please help me. I want to go home. And I remember everybody just looking out the window, just like staring at, like, it was almost like people did not want to be involved. Like, they didn't even want to get themselves involved in this situation like that. And so I was just remember him catching up to me and him like pinching me in my side and was like, chill out. Like, if I go to jail, like, it's over for you. And I'm like, please, I need to go to the hospital. I'm not feeling good. I feel sick. And he was like, and so I don't know what clicked in his head at that point, but we end up getting on the city bus and going to Regent's Hospital. I remember walking on that bus, and I remember it was like the Twilight Zone. Everybody was staring at me. I had blood all on my shirt. I had blood dripping down my face. I was crying, and he was just trying to play it off the whole time. Like, he was telling people like, yeah, she got jumped. And I'm just thinking, no. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to say anything because I'm scared of him. So I'm just sitting there like agreeing with it. I remember getting to Regent's Hospital and like things blacked out from there. I remember them coming in and calling my mom and like them saying like, she has a concussion. They're like, I know for a fact that the dude she's with put his hands on her, because they're like, they just knew the vibe. It was almost like I was trying to send signal to them, like, this was not an accident. I did not get in a fight. This dude, he put his hands on me. And I remember them saying like, they didn't really interfere because I didn't really say it. I didn't say he did this. I was just trying to like, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of like, hit signals. And so they didn't really do anything about it. And I remember my mom, like, I remember talking to her on the phone at the hospital, and she's like, you need to get to that school. They're picking you up. The people at the school picked me up from his house that next day. And I remember getting to the school, and I remember just like my mom, I was unrecognizable to my mom and dad. They were in complete shock. They were crying, hurt, and they're just like, what happened? And I continued to lie. I continued to just be like, no, he didn't. I got in a fight. You know what I mean? Because I was just scared that if I told him the truth and he went to jail, or even if before they even called the police at his house, I was scared that he was gonna come to my house and do something crazy. So I'm like, I just continued to lie. I'm like, I was scared to see what he would really do if I really took it far to lock him up. And so I just remember after that, like, I remember them after school, I went home. Like, they was like, you're coming home. Like, they made sure I went home. And I remember during that time, like, I was still talking to him on the phone, but like they was like on strict mode, like, you ain't going nowhere, like, you staying here, like. And I remember, like, it's weird, like, I had this pull to still like see him, like, even all the stuff he took me through, I still wanted to see him. And it was like, it was crazy. Like, I'm like, I didn't even understand why. It was just like, I honestly, I really still loved him. Like, even as crazy as it sounds, I did. And like, I remember, like, after I did really well in that school and I ended up graduating from that school in like January, and, you know, they're like, she doesn't belong here. Like, she's a good kid. You know, she just got caught up in the wrong stuff. And I remember graduating from this school and them having a whole graduation. And I remember my mom, like, okay, they're trying to figure out, okay, what school she's going to go to now. And I was like, my sister was like, Mom, please, can she go to Richfield? Because, like, Richfield, like, you know, we grew up in Richfield, and I went to all Richfield public schools, majority, besides the one that I went to in 9th grade. And so my sister was like, can she please, like, go to Richfield? Because that's where my sister went. And my mom was like, I don't know about that. You know, I don't want her to kind of fall. You know, she just didn't want me to, like, go into a school that I was familiar with all the people in. She wanted me to go to a school where it would be a fresh start. But my sister ended up convincing her for me to go to this school, and from there, like, everything started changing around for me. But starting at school, like, right off the bat, I remember meeting this guy, who is now my husband. I remember, like, the first day I met him, like, the teacher, like, it was so weird. Like the first day we met, I remember going in the classroom. I remember, like, the class starting, and, like, we had, like, a project, and, like, the teachers paired us together. Like, it's really weird. Like, they paired us together. And I remember, like, looking at him, like, we had this weird tension. Like, I remember just being irritated, like, because he was like a know-it-all. And, like, he just got, like, what he was just trying to be in control of the project. And I'm like, nah, like, you know, I was not the type of person, like people take control. So I'm like, you know. And so I remember him just being like a know-it-all and, like, having a little attitude, like, you know, type thing. Because he didn't really know me like that. And I didn't know him. But I just remember, like, after that day, like, just we had just, like, this weird, like, tension between each other. Mind you, we didn't know each other, but it was just, like, a weird tension between us. I guess it was, like, maybe, like, it was, like, a flirty type of thing, like, the first day. But not, like, it was just kind of weird. And after that day, like, we just became, like, really cool, like, really close. I remember me not really telling him that I was in an abusive relationship, but kind of telling him, like, what I was, like, I was kind of with a controlling dude. And I didn't really start telling him, like, you know, too much details. And I was just kind of telling him I had a boyfriend still, because I was still with this dude. And then he had a girlfriend. So we would kind of, like, just talk about, like, what we were going through, because he was going through something at the time as well. And so we were just, like, you know, like, kind of just, like, every day we would meet in class, and we would just start telling each other how the weekend was and how, you know, our relationship was. And, like, we both were unhappy. And I honestly think that's what kind of brought us together closer. And so I feel like during that time, just seeing the type of guy he was, like, I seen that he just treated me better, even though, like, we were just friends. I just seen kind of, like, how a guy should treat, you know, a girl. And I remember I was slowly drifting away from dude. And I remember he kind of, you know, the dude I was with prior kind of knew that, because I wouldn't answer his phone calls. I just wasn't going over there like I used to. And I remember him, like, calling my school and saying, like, I'm gonna kill her. Like, basically, you better tell her she better leave now. I'm gonna come up there and kill her, and blah, blah, blah. And I remember being like, mind you, I already kind of knew how crazy he was. So, like, it wasn't a surprise to me. I just couldn't believe he was calling my school. Like, you're still on that. Like, you know what I mean? We haven't even kicked it in a minute. And I remember the teachers sending me home. And I remember them asking my husband, like, as my friend at the time, like, do you know somebody named, such and such? And him like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, she's threatened. And he said that, the new dude that, she's talking to. Mind you, I think he was just really stalking the school. Because I don't even know how he really knew that I was like, we weren't even like dating at the time. We were just talking. So I didn't really know how he knew. So they sent me home. And then after that, I was just like, this is just too much. And so like slowly I just started just venturing off, and me and my, husband, we got closer and closer. And I remember he kind of broke up with his girl. I kind of just let that relationship go. And, I was scared. I'm gonna be honest. I was scared to like let it go because I was scared if he was going to come after me and like what was the case. But I just I really think God put me in a place to meet my husband, to kind of pull me like away from that. And I remember we just started dating, and like the rest was history after that. But for some reason, like my past relationship really just kept interfering, and like, the way I felt, I still had traumatic, stress from it. And I still, I almost felt like I had some unfinished business. Like it was just like I didn't feel completely detached from the situation. I kind of felt like something was just not right. He would still call me. He would still like try to contact my sister. And so like, I just felt like he was just still trying to be around, and it kept bringing back the old feelings. You know what I mean? Like, as crazy as it sounds, I just couldn't get over that situation. And so I remember when we were dating for a while, me and him, we moved in together, and I remember just having like nightmares. Like I remember just like, having dreams and post-traumatic stress of like, the situation I was in. And I remember just waking up like screaming and talking in my sleep. And I remember he would tell me like, you were freaking out. Like you were saying, get off me, leave me alone and stuff like that. And I just remember like I was just in a dark place, and I just didn't understand why I was still stuck in that, that space. Like I'm like, I just wanted it to be over with. And, I remember, me just praying to God. Like I just remember being so depressed, like so down, like as the dark as it gets, like I was like in that place. I was just in a very dark place. And I remember just praying like, Lord, please, please, please give me something to be happy about. Give me something to move on. Give me something to just feel like I have a purpose again. You know what I mean? And he did. I remember getting pregnant, like, I remember the feeling I had, like, I could not believe, like, the feeling. It was just like, I felt like, man, like, I'm about to start a family, like, this is, like, everything is going up from here, like, I just felt good, like, you know what I mean, like, all that other stuff was just, like, in the past at that point, like, I was just, like, I have something else to live for. I don't need to continue to, like, think about that, you know what I mean, so I was just happy. And I remember, going through that 9 months of pregnancy, kind of feeling anxious, kind of feeling, sad at times, because like he was still contacting me, and like he would just continue to keep like trying to, like, I would change my number, but he would find a way to contact me. And I remember, like finally giving birth to her, and just remember being so happy. Like she was just my joy. She was my heart. She was everything. Like she was just the most beautiful baby. Everything that I pictured in my head of her was exactly how she was. She was just amazing. And I was thanking God. I'm like, thank you. Like this is like a whole, like it was one of the biggest blessings in my life. Like I know meeting my husband was was amazing, but like having a child is just a whole nother love. And so I was happy. I was like, things is good. Like, and when I gave birth to her, she had a little issue. She swallowed a lot of my fluid when she came out, and so she was in she was in the ICU for a while because she had breathing problems. She couldn't eat on her own, so they had to get her to be able to eat on her own for her to come home. And so I remember it being Christmas, and I'm like, man, I can't wait till she comes home. Like, it was hard, but she was okay. She came home like about 2 weeks later. Everything was going good. I was depressed, I ain't gonna lie, it was hard. Postpartum was hitting me pretty bad. But I was so happy. Like, she was just amazing. Like, everything about her was just amazing. And 2 months went past, and remember my husband pinned her down. My husband pinned her down to go to sleep, and I remember just waking up. So I'm feeling off. I'm thinking like, dang, like, cause she slept. Like, it felt like she slept in a stretch. I don't know if you know, but like, a baby is asleep in a stretch. You almost wake up like, oh shoot, like, cause I don't remember her sleeping that well. And I remember my husband going like, I remember waking up like, oh, where can you go get her, change her diaper? And he remember getting up, and I remember he walked over to her bed, and he fell to the floor. Just imagine a baby not breathing and like going, like, it was just like, I felt like my whole heart was ripped apart, because I prayed to God to like give me something. He took it away. Man, I mean, that just really changed my whole way look on life. Never lost anybody that close to me at that time, and it was just like, it was very traumatic for me. Spiraled out of control, went into a deep depression, was drinking alcohol a lot. Me and my husband fought a lot because we were like playing a blame game. Well, if you would have, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, we didn't really understand. We thought if we would have woke up earlier that she would have been okay, but we could have woke up earlier and she still could have been gone. You know what I mean? So it was just, at this point, we just was fighting a line, and we were drinking. It was just a hot mess. And I think what really changed it around was me getting pregnant with my second daughter, which was Natalina. I got pregnant with her literally like a few months after the incident. I don't even know. I think I honestly feel like I wanted to fill that void. I was like, I need to have a baby. I was like, I almost felt like if I would get pregnant, that it would be her again. I thought she would like reincarnate in some crazy, and it would just be her. And really, that's not what happened, because I knew it wasn't her, because it was just a whole other different child. They didn't really even look alike. And but I still think that it helped me, because I felt like I had a duty. I'm like, I can't not be down and depressed anymore. I have to take care of this little girl. And so I named her Natalina after her sister who passed away, which is Kaylina. And I think after I was pregnant during that time and I had her, I needed a coping mechanism. I needed to figure out a way that would make me happy again. And I tried to go to school. I tried to go to college, and that just didn't help until I started doing music. And we just started writing, and I started expressing myself in that way. And I knew, like, this is what I'm really supposed to do. Like, it just felt right. You know what I mean? It's the only thing that really took me away and made me feel good. And so that's when I really started pursuing music and trying to change my life around and make things better. And so I remember everything was going well. And I remember him losing his, like, about a few months later, he lost his job. And this is, mind you, like, after like 5 months of being in a new place. And I was just like, man, it's just one thing after another. Like, it just like almost felt like I was getting hit and hit and hit. Like, no matter what I did, it was like I almost felt like God had something against me. You know, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what are we doing wrong? And he lost his job, and we were just kind of hoping that it was gonna work out, but it didn't. They ended up evicting us, and we end up Like, we didn't really go to his, we had a place to go, me and his grandparents, but my pride was just like, man, I am not feeling it. I really just rather not do that. So I was like, I didn't want to go there, but he was like, my grandparents is gonna, have open arms. We can go there. And I'm like, let's just try. We had a little extra money saved up from like it was like a few $100s. I'm like, let's stay one night in the hotel. Like, you know what I mean? Let's at least stay one night in the hotel and see. That didn't work out. And it was like, all right, we went to Mary's place, and they would only accept me. So, they don't like, it's almost like they don't like to see. They're like, why are you, like, you have a happy home, like, why are you homeless? Like, this is not, it was almost for, Mary's place is for more like a single mom and her kids. It's not really for families. And so he couldn't stay, so I went to stay there. Stayed there one day, I'm like, no, I'm gonna come to your grandparents. Like, I can't do it.
I tell you, when they was living here, I really enjoyed them being here because they really took care of me and my wife, because at that time we was a little bit sick at that time. And I hated when they had to move. He'll tell you, I told him when he was getting ready to move, I hated to see them leave because they was keeping us going at that time, because we both had just come out of the hospital. And we really needed them here at that time. See, it was really enjoyment having them here. Not only that, I had a couple other of my grandkids, actually three grandkids living here at the same time. Kiana was living here, and also Tam. Huh? Yeah, and her kids. So we actually had a house full, to tell you the truth.
This is the room we was in.
Yeah, this is in this room.
My grandma's cleaning some stuff out and trying to get rid of some stuff right now. This is not how it looked when we were here. But, can you imagine 4 people, 4.5 when my daughter was here.
Your other baby.
My other daughter. We had to share this bed, the full-size bed.
And then
everybody else, we had a little pallet.
Over here on the floor.
Pallet over here on the floor. We had a USB mic, a little janky USB mic from the pawn shop.
Yep.
We didn't even have a stand for it, so I attached it to a hanger and hung it on a coat rack, so it'd be like, the right height.
We had this thing right here too. What is this?
We had to use this for to try to soundproof.
Yeah.
That closet.
Mind you, have all these people here trying to keep it quiet, so we would do it at night. And so this was like, we were like, we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, one way or another.
Yeah. So during that time, I remember we started really making music seriously, and my husband getting a job, and he was like, all right, all the money I'm making, we're finna put towards your music. I'm like, we really should have been saving up at that time to move out, but we was like, shoot, we're gonna take advantage of the situation, because his granddad and them really needed help at the time. So we're like, look, we're gonna take advantage of the situation. We're gonna make music. We're gonna spend the money that we make on equipment to make our own little studio. And then eventually we wanted to use that money towards going to an actual legit studio. But then unfortunately I got pregnant again, and I ain't gonna lie, I was like discouraged. I was like, bro, this is my 3rd kid. This is my 4th kid, actually. I had lost 1 child, but I had 2 living. And I was like, okay, this is my 3rd child. And I'm like, this is too much. Like, I didn't really think it was like gonna happen for me. I'm like, you have 3 kids, like you're about to have 3 kids, and you're trying to pursue a music career, and you're living at the grandparents' house. Like, it was just like, man, like I don't see how I couldn't, like the vision wasn't clear. I didn't really see how it was gonna happen. And I remember just like honestly wanting to have abortion. I was like, this is not the time. Like, this is supposed to be my highlight of like what I'm doing. Like, this is not the time to have another child. And my husband at the time was like, just pray about it. I'm with you no matter what. And I was like really going towards abortion, but like deep down inside, I was like, I can't do it. You know what I mean? I remember talking to my mom and my grandma. I remember just bawling, crying, like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, how am I gonna really like be successful with 3 kids, like with a music career? Like, if anybody knows, like, you know, the music journey is not easy. You know what I'm saying? It's time where a lot of time we get to be away from your kids, and, you know, like, you have to spend a lot of money, and I could be spending that money on them. So I was kind of feeling like selfish at that point. I'm like, I don't know, like, this is like, I was just like, there's no way I can make it happen. Until I remember one of my closest friends, Quenisha, shout out to you. Like, this is for her. Like, I wrote her a long message, like crying, like, and I'm like in tears writing her. I'm like, I'm pregnant and I don't know how I'm gonna like make this happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to pursue music, but I'm about to have another kid. That's 3 kids. We ain't got no place. Like how I'm gonna do this? And she was like, God got you. You could do, you know, you can do anything you want to do. Like, kids shouldn't stop you from like pursuing, you know, your career. And I'm like, you know what? And I just, and I mean, it was like more into depth than that. Like, it was more heartfelt than that. And I'm just kind of briefly going over it. And I remember being like crying, like, man, she's right. Like, this is not going to stop me. You know what I mean? Like, so I went through that, you know, that pregnancy. No, I didn't really perform at that time. I didn't really, we were writing music. We were like getting that content ready, but we didn't really like, I was like really sick. So I didn't really pursue it like that. But I still kind of had like what I was going to do when I like had him. And like, honestly, during that time, like, I was working on my EP and like all this COVID-19 stuff started happening. I'm like, and like, I got laid off, and it was like the perfect time to like really work on my craft. And so like right now, like now we're in the present and everything that's been working out. And I'm just like so grateful. I'm so blessed. And like all the things that I've been through, like I look back at that and just see that as like, you know, just some things that I had, you know, like a milestone, things that I had to go through to get to where I'm at today. And like, I just know, like, no matter how hard it is going to be, because I know all that stuff I've been through, I already know that it might get worse. Things might, you know, like I already know God puts things in your life just to test you, to see, you know, how your faith works and see how, you know, if you're going to still have faith in him. And like, honestly, I'm not even worried about it. Like, I'm just like, I'm tunnel vision. I'm like headstrong. And like, I know that at this point I'm just working hard and I'm believing in myself, and I'm just ready to like get to work and like really show people, you know, I got this. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I love music. Music has been my passion since I was a little girl. And even though the little things in my life that kind of blindsided me to really see where I wanted my path to go, like, I'm now just super like motivated, super excited to really get it done and really go for it from this point. I guess I'm just really trying to show people that it is possible to have a family, to have kids, and really pursue my dreams and really make something of myself. As hard as it might be, you know what I mean? I don't want my kids growing up and me telling them, you know, like, I didn't get to pursue my dreams because of you. I want them to see that mom did it and they can do anything. Music has always been a special part of me growing up, and so it's natural for me. Like, it's just something that I enjoy. It's never been about the money for me and becoming this huge star and making money. I just love to do it. I've spent, you know, a lot of money in this last few years with content, you know, getting content out here, and I've lost a lot of money, and it's definitely has hit hard because I'm like, man, like, I've spent so much money and I could have put this money into my kids or into accounts and stuff, bank accounts. But that's how much I believe in myself, that, you know, it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna get my music out there, because I really feel like I have something special to show the world. So for all my haters, I'm not stopping.